Now, I've always used textures in a lot of my images, but it was my buddy Trey Ratcliff that kind of introduced me to a new concept on using textures. And what that is, instead of just using one texture, use multiple textures. I'm going to go inside Lightroom for a moment. These are some of the textures that Trey has on his DVD on textures. So let me just select all three of them, right mouse click, and what I want to do is edit in Photoshop, but I want to create, I want to open them up inside Photoshop all in one layer. So in a moment, Photoshop is going to open up, and then these three textures are going to come in. Now, keep in mind that these textures have their own color scheme to them. For this particular image, what we're going to do is desaturate all these colors and just get rid of the color, throw it away, and use the colors that are inside the image itself. Now, this one particular texture is smaller than all of them, so I'm just going to click, drag it into place, Control T or Command T, and drag it into position. Good. That's it. Double click. I committed it. I'm going to select all three of these. Here we go. I'm going to undock that. I'm going to drag and drop that onto my layer, into my other file rather. Pressing the Shift key, that's going to keep everything centered. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need to save it. Good. Control T again, because look how big that texture is. And just pop it right into place. Double click. That's it. Now, from here, let's hide these first two, and let's just deal with the twigs for a moment. Under the layer blend mode, if we go to soft light, or if we go to overlay, we start to experiment with the different ones. I actually like overlay. Look what it's doing to the edges. Now, what I don't like is what it's doing to the model's face. So this is where layer masks come in. So I'm going to click on a layer mask, grab a brush, I'm going to paint in black, and what I want to do is get rid of the texture either on her face or in the areas that I don't want it to be. Now, I know the eyes, let's zoom right in, the eyes on all of these textures are going to be done at 100%. So that I'm going to start out with right away, and get rid of the texture on the eyes, just to make it pop a little bit. Good. And notice I'm painting in black. If I change it by using the X key, I can paint back in any of the areas that I accidentally went over on. Good. Go back to X. Now for the face itself, I like what it's doing, but it's a little too strong. Like right up in here. Good. Right on her face. That's it. I like what it's doing to the hands. I'm not really in love with what it's doing to the airplane. Now really what I should have done, which let's Control Z, is I'm going to take this down to about maybe 40% and then just lightly paint over that area. There we go. That's it. Now blend it just a little bit better. Now look at her face in here. Let's do about maybe 20%. Increase the brush size. I just want to paint over her face just a little bit more. Now, if I want to see what I'm actually painting, if I press the Shift Alt key on a PC or Shift Option key on a Mac and click on that particular layer mask, what it's doing for me is it's going to show me in red an overlay of what I'm actually painting. Now, this was done at 100% the eyes, so you can see that those are red, and then the rest of it was done at, let's say, 20%, so you're not seeing as much on the face. I just want to put a little bit more on it. Good. That's it. Beautiful. Good. Now on to the next one. Here, let's do this. I'm going to move that up into place a little bit. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Control T. Just want to expand it. Good. Now this actually has color to it, so I'm going to press Shift Control U on a PC, Shift Command U on a Mac to desaturate that color. Now, I really like this texture. The only thing I don't like about it is it's not sharp enough, so let's right mouse click on it. Once again, convert to a smart object. Now if I double click on it, it's coming up as its own file. I want to duplicate that layer. From here, let's go to Filter, Other, let's do a high pass. Let's crank it up pretty high. Good. And then let's change the layer blend mode. And we just experiment. It's a little too dark. Let's see. Let's go to, soft light, hard. Ooh, I like hard light. So look at hard light. It's giving more of a texture to it. Now, if I close this, I'm going to say yes to saving it. When it comes back into Photoshop, it has that new texture or the new sharpness to it. Let's change that to soft light. Let's see what hard light does. Hard light's a little, or overlay is a little too much. Soft light is good. Hard light, forget it, it's too much. So I like soft light. Again, create a layer mask. Let's get rid of the eyes at 100%. We're going to paint in black. Good. Now, I'm lowering the, I'm making the brush size small by using the bracket keys on the keyboard. Good. And then this piece right here. That's it. And maybe like down in here. And actually, I'm going to get a larger brush. Let's go to about 80%. I want to start painting out that effect on her face. A little bit on her hands, her neck. Good. Right about there. That's it. Now let's say up in this area here, and this is where you just take your time and just decide where you want that texture to be applied. Let's see, get rid of it up in here. I like it here. The plane looks good. So I'm just looking around, and I like where it's at. Let's get rid of some of that here to make it stand out. Good. Now it's a lot easier using a Wacom tablet because then I can apply the pen sensitivity on each of these. Good. So far everything's looking really good. And we're on to the last texture, which is this one here. Good. Now notice why it's off a little bit. You know, it's off because when I made that first texture, I actually made it a little bit too large. So it's no big deal. We'll just bring it up. That's it. Shift, Control U again to desaturate it. And let's convert that to soft light. I'm going to hide the other layers for a moment. So let's see what that layer is actually doing. Maybe hard light will be better. Nope, hard light's way too much. And overlay. Yeah, overlay's a little too much. So I like soft light. Let's bring back those. Good. Create the layer mask again. And then from here, once again, back to the eyes. I want to go to 100%. Lower the brush size. And paint out the eyes. Good. I went a little too far. Press the X. There we go. Good. And I'm really liking how that's coming along. Let's see. Let's bring it down to about 40%. Good. Get a big brush. That's it. Do a couple passes over her face. That's it. And that's just going to show me what I'm actually painting in. That's it. Oh, you know what? Let's start with black. There we go. Good. That's it. And the hand just a little bit. Great. Now look around and just see if there's any areas that are being affected. And we're good. Good. And so here's the textures. Now, once again, by putting this pilot and the airplane on a separate layer, of course, but making it a smart object, if I double click again onto that particular image, Notice I still have the original. I could just substitute the model again with something else, with another model, or get rid of it and get rid of it completely. Let's see, File. Let's do it this way. Save. And once it saves, let's go back into this image. Give it a little time. And then once we go back into it, there we go. Notice it's out. So if we just wanted the airplane with all of the textures and all the effects that we just did, it's there. So let's go back to the other layer. Good. Put the model back into it. I'm going to close this out. Save. And the model's going to reappear. And here it comes. There. So once again, by keeping this into a smart object, the model and the airplane itself, we're able to apply another image to the same identical texture overall. Now, I'm looking through this here. If there's anything on these areas here that I don't like, because we're on a layer mask, all I have to do is figure out, like, let's say that little piece right here, figure out which layer, there we go, that one, has that little image that I don't like. Click on it. Making sure I'm painting in black, and just paint out that area. So once you start working on it, step away for a few minutes, come back, look around again, and if there's areas in here that you don't want the texture to be applied to, figure out which texture is causing the problem, and then from the layer mask, either paint in or paint out the effect.